What's up, guys? So do you want to know the market, how it is going to be in 2021? Then this video is definitely almost 35% of the Americans has the below 680 FICO score. That means they cannot afford the house right now even though they want to. Almost like a 10% of the Americans has the unemployment, and which is quite a bit higher compared to what we had in 2019. Along with that, almost 10 trillion home equity American has in their houses. So it gives you the feels like a euphoria, it gives you like a well-being feeling, everything is going well. At the same time, we feel some of the loopholes happening in the economy. Let's start this video right now. Welcome to my new video. My name is Komal Acharya. I'm a local real estate agent in Florida. Of course, I'm not astrologer. I can't see the future. I'm just predicting based on what my research says or what the expert says in the field. Let's start with the facts. What is happening right now in the market? So at this time, in whole over the US, market is at fire. Yes. Not even one single state left out where you don't see that fire. The reason is low inventory and very high demand. Why high demand? Because of the low interest rate. In a history, like in 25 years, we never experienced this much low interest rate. And in a history, we never experienced this much low even inventory. So basically, it's a simple formula. If your demand is higher for whatever the reason and supply is low, it's definitely called the seller's market. And if your supply is higher and demand is low, and it's called the buyer's market. You can comment me below what do you think about this market and what you experience, even though not being in real estate. I would say on a Facebook or even a Google, as soon as you open the page, maybe one news definitely you will see about the real estate. That's how the real estate market is hot. Before this COVID started, we were almost at that stable market. We were not seeing too high, going graph up for the appreciation. At the same time, it was not going down. I have also made another video what is happening at this time in deeper level, why this inventory is low or why this interest rates are quite a bit lower and why this demand thing is happening in the market. One of the prediction, I feel the market can stay at same. So at same means it's going up and up and up. So at this moment, if you see it, as soon as the property comes in a market, you will see like multiple offer coming like in a gush. So many people even buying sight unseen. They are not even looking at the property and they're simply buying. The reason is its competition is very, very high, especially in the good school zone. The problem in Florida is only very few zip codes or very few cities have the A+ school zone. And that is the reason I have experienced, especially in the South Florida, like cities like Parkland, Boca Raton, Weston, it's going too fast. So if you see this in market, this gap is so huge. So it's quite a bit harder to fill this demand and supply gap. And that's why I said maybe the market would stay same even though that changes are made in an interest rate if it is not too obvious. Right now people are experiencing 20-25% of increase in their equity. So maybe that percentage of the going up may reduce as the time goes, or the reason is could be in a summertime, let's say more sellers would be putting in a market for the reason they are maybe moving out because of the that's the most hard time whenever people are selling the houses. So and now because of the vaccination, now the sellers may be feeling comfortable of putting the house in the market, and that's also may increase the inventory. So that will help out to like a little bit slowing down the supply and demand part, and maybe that rise would not be that fast than compared to what we are seeing right now. In the Florida market, at least we are fortunate that the houses are not selling like for example like $50,000-$60,000 above the asking price. It's just more reactive market, but it's not like very skyrocket high market. In some states I've heard, people are even paying like $50,000 or $60,000 above the asking price to get the house. Second scenario could be the market may stabilize. The stabilize I would use is like a correction kind of, can happen in the market. My personal the personal instinct, or the whatever we see in the market, and you see the patterns happening in the past, depends on that. I feel that phase would be coming up instead of any other phases, because this gap we have a too high. At the same time, we see some changes happening in interest rate. Like recently, just in the last 2 or 3 weeks, I told you that many of the buyers kept a pause just because those interest rate went up. And you won't believe, like if the interest rate goes up like even 0.5% to 1%, you will see a huge gap in your monthly mortgage. That's like almost $300-$400 per month you have to pay extra. So your monthly mortgage increases. And the supply part can get improved also, just because the vaccinations are coming in the market for everybody, and as time goes, it may help to kind of get that comfort zone from the to the seller, so that they can, the many seller would get convinced to put it in the market. So that will help eventually to stabilize the market. I'm still using the stabilized word because that may not be true in a way that it's kind of like a low going, the prices will be going down, but it's more like it's like more balanced. Like at this moment we see like multiple offer situation, and the houses doesn't even stay one day. Sometime it's like overnight it's gone, so it's a lot of frustration happening on the buyer side. Many of my clients ask, like, is this the good time to buy? My simple answer is, even though you wait for the stabilization to come in, still you see that your monthly mortgage would not be different, because you see that if the market, the interest rate goes up, the prices will not go down immediately. Property may stay for longer time, so you have some choices to choose from. So you may get a help for the inventory side, where you have a selection, of the property, where you can choose some property, because right now it goes so fast that people are not even getting the enough property to see even, and they have to make a decision just based on what is there in a market. Many people prefer to have a waterfront property, and not too many waterfront properties are coming in a market. So some people are compromising because they have to make a decision for whatever the reason, and they have to compromise that part because they don't see that many property coming in a market. So that issue maybe get resolved when the market stabilize. You will see lot many inventories, you may see lot many choices, but again, we don't know when that's going to come, because the interest rate are not in our hand. That's on a federal and the government, right? So we saw a couple of changes happening here and there, but it's not a huge change that can impact the market immediately. But you never know. Like that phase, I feel like maybe we will be experiencing end of the year, or maybe by 2022. So now the question is, should you buy or not? That's something you got to evaluate by the situation. Everybody's situation is different. If you're living in a rental, and then definitely I will not recommend you waste money. You will still save money if you buy now with the lower interest rate. If the interest rate goes up, your monthly mortgage definitely goes up. The prices will not be going down immediately, at least not in a couple of years, because remember, supply demand has the huge gap I have been keep talking about, and that's not going to resolve right now. Number 3 scenario could be, many people are saying about the REOs coming up in a market, and that will, kind of that gap lower down. But let me tell you the fact. I buy properties in an auction. So auction is the phase before the REO and foreclosure. That's where it goes. And that's where the bank bids a property, like we as an investor bids a property. I have experienced damn low inventory in auction. In 2020, we had to almost stop. We couldn't buy any property because the auction properties were stopped. No foreclosure happening. I understand this will not be going too far for years, right? Like there are like trillions of dollars stuck in this forbearance, and maybe the government will not be writing those $1 trillion check to the homeowners to resolve their issues, right? I understand that part. At the same time, you got to see that we didn't have foreclosures coming in last couple of years that frequent. So many investors are waiting for the opportunities. So the first chance will be given to the investor because they have a cash in their hand. They can make a deal so fast and with the less hassle to the homeowners. Many of the investors are approaching those homeowners and trying to resolve the issue before it even goes to auction or before it even goes to foreclosure. So in those steps, many of the homeowners are losing house, but it's not going to the home buyers directly. It's going to the investor. And that's one big piece we sometimes miss out. In 2008, when this crisis happened, there were so many mistakes were already happened by the banks and the lenders because, they try to give the loans to people who, with a very minimal kind of regulations. So there's so many kind of inventory the bank had and they lost in a foreclosure and they put it in a market because it's an inventory thing because there's so many inventory they had and they had to to get it done with it, to take out the money from them, they had to put it in a market. And that is the reason many of the people who not only just investor but home buyers also got an advantage of those property. In this case, right now, lenders are very strict. The people who are buying the property, they actually has the money. And many, like you see that many of the people who are buying in 2020 and 2021 right now, it's like lowest interest rate of this time, like 2.5. Who gets a 2.5 interest rate? This is like too low and where people will not be giving up those houses that fast. Keep reminding you about that gap between inventory and the demand. And the demand is still there because many people has to move. So many people are still living in a rental, so they are thinking to buy and they are going to buy. And so many people are still afraid to put it in a market. So the seller has to feel comfortable. The another reason sellers are not selling because they have to buy something in a highest price where people are not ready. Like I remodel my property where I live in. I feel like to sell that property right now because I'll get my top dollar. But I'm not prepared to buy something in a highest amount right now. So I'm not putting in a market. So those are like so many reasons are intact to make a decision of someone to put it in a market. And that is the reason we are still experiencing this low inventory. And this will be there at least couple of months and maybe the years. So that could be the third scenario, I will say, where the REOs are coming. However, in that also, I don't know how many amounts of REOs are coming, what's the frequency of the REOs are coming, and that's something questionable. And in that scenario also, I feel like investors are getting too much benefit. So let's say if you really want to buy, I would say again, check out your monthly mortgage. Don't think for the opportunities to come in unless and until if you have a homeowner, you are already a homeowner. And in that case, if you're upgrading yourself, then this is not the time to buy. It goes case by case. I do not advise everybody right now to buy a house. It goes like, what's their actual scenario at this moment, where they are putting their money in, because even though you're buying for yourself, still the real estate is the investment. and you have to think such a way that it is an investment and you have to treat it as a business person. And even though you are taking a risk, but that's like a calculated risk. Another thing I always tell my buyer is that property which you are buying right now, think that you are going to keep that for a longer time. Because if you're buying something for $700,000, $800,000 and let's say market stabilized, then it's not going to give you the equity immediately. But down the road, definitely, it's going to give you for sure. And it is a roller coaster. So when the market goes up, there is always a time it stabilizes. But when, nobody knows. And if you're thinking to sell the house, I would say definitely do right now. I always tell, react when you want to react. Don't react when you have to react. So it is, you got to make your choice to do something, with that some kind of rational behind it. Don't do on, based on like, oh, you have to do that. So right now, if you're selling, that it is going to be your choice where you are getting your topmost dollar. And nobody knows it's going to go up and up or it's going to stabilize, right? So why not take an advantage right now? And if you, of course, the buying side also, you have to secure yourself. But in case you have that secured, then definitely this is the time to sell. I hope this video is helpful to you. If you want me to analyze any of your situation where you're looking to buy or sell and you're confused about this, like definitely try to contact me. I will love to help you out. I believe in relationship. I'm not here for transactions. So whatever my honest opinion, depending on your situation, I'll convey to you. And then ultimately it's going to be your decision what you want to do. This is definitely is a very confusing market. Many people are experiencing, not only you, but everybody is experiencing. So, and it's everywhere. It's not just the Florida, it's everywhere. It's kind of the same market. So try to take your judgment based on your situation. That's what my best advice I can tell you. All right, guys, I'll see you in my next video.